We're seeing so many new companies set up. So you've called the likes of Google frenemies in the past.
Yes.
But
well, they're friendlier frenemies now.
I'm sure.
They've actually become more frenemies, I think, actually to their clients, because this hiring of senior CMO talent from Procter, from L'Oreal, from GSK, formerly Procter & Gamble, and from Unilever, I mean, 4 major examples of recently, sort of, it doesn't please clients because it's nicking their talent. I mean, whereas when they used to take people from us, and still do, although we take people from Google too, but I would say the flow into Google is greater than the flow out of Google into us from what we see in terms of the data. That's starting to happen with clients. They're pushing it. So they are becoming frenemies, to their sort of customer base. So I think they have to be a little bit careful about that.
We're seeing traditional media companies set up in-house content agencies, or
well, I think they've always had in-house content agencies. I mean, that's if you listened carefully to what Philippe said in our session, CBS had its TV production and content agencies, and in fact he said they do creative work around some of their properties. So it's always been there, but it's more pronounced with Google and Facebook and others. I mean, they are frenemies in their way. They have said to us very clearly that they are not out to disintermediate us. And at the top level, we have these nice places like this. We have these nice conversations and nice reviews, which are meaningful. I mean, our relationship with Google is very big, and I think very strong. It's the biggest of our media relationships, along with News Corp in its new form with 21st Century and News Corp. So I think it is capable of becoming even more powerful. It's now $2.5 billion. It could be $3 billion this year, and that Facebook was almost $450 million last year, 439 to be precise, and we think it might be 650, 700 this year. But Twitter's about 100 million this year versus 50 last year. So there's the potential to build very powerful relationships as long as we deal with one another in a very open and transparent way. I mean, all I can say is in relation to Google is that I have wonderful conversations with Nikesh and Matt and everybody else, and Kirk Perry, who's just joined them from Procter & Gamble, and it's all very sweet and hunky-dory. But when I visit markets, my colleagues say, I need my head examined because their sales force has been all over our clients directly. So I think it pays to be paranoid about these things, to be honest. I'm being very direct about it, but Google is a very powerful organization. It's worth about $400 billion. Probably the most valuable company on the planet if you strip out the cash in Apple. And their margins are last time I checked, about 47%, which makes our margins look miserably less than a third of theirs. So they're very powerful. And by the way, that's 47 that they show. I mean, they invest in driverless cars and fiber optic networks and giant server farms and boats with server farms on them, if I remember rightly. I mean, they do a lot of very intelligent things that we would love to do, and they're very powerful. And we're a measly 29 billion in comparison to their just under 400 billion.
So, do you see a threat coming from any one area? I mean, we've got a
listen, there are threats all the time. Every company, I think, operates with frenemies. And my favorite example is Sony and Samsung. You think they're frenemies because I think Samsung supplies Sony with chips still. And yet they compete very heavily, particularly in the consumer end of the market. So look, it happens everywhere. Deloitte, our auditors are a frenemy. They're building Interactive. We competed on a couple of acquisitions. So, here's somebody we pay 30 million quid a year to, who's competing with us. Yeah.